Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Evil Within 2, Nightmare difficulty, no upgrades, no keys, and no damage. This is Chapter 10, it is hidden from the start, and this is probably the second hardest fight in the game. As far as what is demanded of you as a player, this is definitely going to push you more than most of the sequences. And that's just because I'm not healing, and I'm not taking damage. If you're willing to take a few hits on this scenario, it's probably not too bad, but it is... I think it's 4 waves. One of those waves has a witch, which is a difficult wave, and then the final wave has those weird dog things, but I have a fantastic strategy for keeping them stunned so that your friend here can shoot them and kill them for you. But the first wave is a couple of people that you want to kill with the pistol, and then she's going to go, "You've done this before, you're pretty good at this, blah blah blah." And then there's going to be the next wave. So this one is going to be a couple more people coming from the front, and I'm going to be using the harpoon to kind of do some damage, kind of hit them in the face, and I'm going to use her as a scapegoat. Because it's win-win, right? If they get on top of her, you can instantly kill them, and if they're this close to her, she's at least shooting them. So she's doing the paramount damage, one could say. The only problem is if she goes down, you'll have to pick her up, and it takes about 9 weeks. So hopefully she doesn't die, but you want to pick her up because she's really good damage-wise. She does more damage than we do because she has an assault rifle, and her assault rifle's probably got a couple of upgrades on there. So use her as best as you can. Save the barrels for when you get in trouble. But that's the second wave. So this is the third wave. The third wave is people coming in behind you, busting through the cabin wall. The first guy jumps through this and immediately starts running, so hit him with something hard. Use the sawn-off, do not use this shotgun, it fucking blows. Right, 2 more guys on the right here are going to run around the corner. That was unexpected, did not expect them to come around the corner at full clip like that and do such fantastic pathing. So touche to whoever programmed that. This is me panicking and nothing's short. I shot him in the head with the rifle because I got in a bad spot. Shouldn't have done that. There's only 2 guys. I could have easily kited them and used the pistol, but you know, when you're playing, sometimes you've got your adrenaline going. You do silly things. But I'm just gonna wait for him to kick ass, and I think he kicked too much ass, didn't he? She's all in trouble. And when this dude goes down, there's going to be another wave, and this is the tough wave. So this is when the witch is going to turn up. And my strategy here is I'm going to use some explosive bolts. That was 100% a mistake. I pressed X to reload, and then I wanted to put an explosive one on, and I changed my bolt. So I was kind of pissed off then. My mistake, though. It's just one of those things where I made a mistake. I kill her with the rifle, and I want to put myself over it in this side of the room so I can use smoke, and I can use explosive rounds to get rid of problems. So, when the witch turns up, the explosive bolt will stun her. And then from the stun, you can proceed to do more damage. And all we need right now is we need the woman to shoot the witch. So I'm going to be stunning, I'm going to be doing a whole host of things. There's the electricity. I'm going to use the rifle on her face after I've stunned her. And she's dead. So when she's dead, we need to pick up her immediately because the final wave is coming. The final wave comes where that pool of fire is. So what we're going to do is we're going to wait for the spawn to happen. We're going to set it on fire, and we're going to stand on this corner so they can't directly see us. And we're going to use stuns, we're going to use smokes, and we're going to use freeze bolts, and we're going to use explosive bolts. Use literally anything you can to keep them where they are, so she keeps shooting them, and you keep them at bay so they never come towards you. And... that's pretty much the strategy done. So there's the smoker. She shoots them. There's a stun in the smoke. And then I'm probably going to do maybe a grenade, maybe an explosive round. So here's me deliberating. The weapon wheel is really important as well, guys, because it's going to enable you to freeze the game. You do not get any threat right now. So this is me being super paranoid, by the way, because I didn't want to do this again. You don't have to be this ridiculously... horrified of this moment, but this is exactly what I'm doing because I want it to end. And there you go. That's it done. 5 minutes. 5 minutes, 4 waves. It isn't that bad when you think about it, but when you're doing it, it definitely feels a little bit more intimidating, so just be careful, guys. But if I can get through it without taking a scrap of damage, with the setup that I have, with those strategies, you can take them, apply them to your own, and you can hopefully have a good time. So now there's only one sequence left in Chapter 10, and it is rather an involved stealth section. It leads me to an interesting conversation as well. So we're now with Torres, the token Latina woman who's good with weapons and will obviously be played by Michelle Rodriguez in the movie. We're moving through a zone with her. She is very capable, and she will shoot stuff with you, and you can use her to get rid of everything if you get in trouble. She gets downed really easily because she's not very good at dodging, but she's still good at damage, and she can help you out. But this next section has probably the most intricate-looking stealth of the game. It's this weird war zone with these flaming dudes everywhere, there's tons of them, and it gives you the impression that stealth is probably the best way to do it. So on my first run through the game, I figured out a really nice path around everybody without stabbing anybody, and it was super cool, it looked slick, but it took a long time, because you were waiting for them to move in certain positions, you were moving around. It took about 5 or 6 minutes. So on the recording run, I decided to kill people whilst stealthing to see if I could make it a bit shorter, make it a bit more accessible for people. And I got past them all, stealthing them all. It took about 5 minutes, so I'd shaved off a minute, but it was still kind of a little bit too long. Then I reloaded, and I decided to just run to the door. And I ran to the door in about 40 seconds, had no incidents, had no issues, had no problems, and then the section was done, and it wasn't even required to do any stealth. Didn't have to stab anybody, didn't have to shoot anybody. It was pretty hilarious. And it leads you to a bit of a conundrum, doesn't it? You have this sequence that's quite interesting, quite intimidating, and quite in-depth that can be 100% mitigated by doing the one thing you would think wouldn't work. But the one thing works better than all the other things. And it's very difficult for me to sit here and justify taking your time on this coming section because I'm going to show you a strategy that gets rid of it without you even having to think. And I don't know how you fix that. Is it good design that you can do it both ways? Or is it bad design that you can try hard to do something that you can try almost nothing and have an easier time with? It's that interesting part of, I don't really understand why you're able to just skip everything and trigger the stuff. It feels like there was meant to be more to this sequence, but there isn't. And when I was first playing, I even thought there was going to be that weird Hell Priest, the guy with the flamethrower. If you're wondering, I'm calling him that because I don't know the bestiary. And I thought we had to stealth at first because he was knocking about and you didn't want to, get killed by this new dangerous looking enemy who's got a big flamethrower and a weird, Beetlejuice face. Because he looks a bit like the missus, when she goes all crocodile-faced, all conical. She definitely looks a little bit he definitely looks inspired by something from Tim Burton. And then just, mess it all up with the melted cassock on him and his raiments and everything. But as you push forward here, the game is going to turn into The Last of Us, and just like in The Last of Us, I'm going to skip a fight. So, we'll touch this concrete, the cutscene will be removed, and then it begins. So you'll get a save point, but once again, if you're on classic mode, you're probably not going to save here. There's no reason to save here, other than you don't want to do that last section again. But as long as you have full life, there's no reason to be afraid of this. And you'll be saving in the next chapter anyway, because it's reconnecting, and that's the one where you're taking on the boss. And the boss there is definitely worth saving before, because he can be a dick. But I start this sequence by moving to the right, picking up that bottle to replenish the bottles that I've wasted. There's a flame guy coming towards us. The general idea of the flame guy is he's just like the other Lost. He just has a couple of unique grabs, and every so often his body ignites. When he ignites, you cannot interact with him. But here is the first part of the strategy where I'm going to take the first part quite slow, because I'm still under the illusion that stabbing these guys and being sneaky is the best way forward. Pick up the harpoon, pick up the weapon parts if you need them, and then we're looking at these guys. So right now there's 2 guys to my left, and there's 1 guy in the center, and then 1 guy to the right. All of these people have really interesting patterns that all coalesce into the central area, and they do give you opportunities to stab them, but they're pretty short. If you have the upgrade that enables you to execute people from corners, you can do a lot of damage here without having to put yourself in an exposed place. But I'm going to walk after this dude, I think, and I'm going to get spotted. And then I'm going to just go, well, what's the point? I'll see if I can run it, and it works. So still being tentative here, still looking for those openings, still thinking that this is the best way to do it. And when it isn't, he turns his back. I'm waiting for middle guy to turn around, and I think guy on the left turns around, or maybe guy on the right turns around. Yeah, guy on the right sees me, does his scream, time to move. So if you know the path here, you'll know that all you need to do is run around the right-hand side of this area. There's a bunch more flame guys to your left in here, but they're all going to scream before they do anything. When they scream, they're not moving. and you can get away from them. And all you have to do now is sprint to that red flag and get behind that tree. And once you're behind the tree, there's a lovely convenient bush that makes you invisible. And you don't even need the bush to hide, because the enemies are going to not be able to keep up with us, and they're all going to have trouble pathfinding to this zone, and all we need to do is wait for them to kind of piss off. Or even right now, you might be able to go up to Torres and touch the door and it opens, but I wanted to make sure that nothing was coming this way, so I'm going to hide here a little bit. But you might not have to do this, folks. You might be able to just hit the door and be done with it. And this section to me was absolutely hilarious. Did you hear how Sebastian joked about the safe house being out in the open? And she's like, I wouldn't put a safe house out in the open like that. I'm not a stupid bitch. And then she goes, my safe house is over there underneath that tree. And you're expecting it to be hidden, right? It's just a door in the floor under a tree where nothing else is. The only focal point in this entire area is the tree and the door thing. Like, this is not a better hiding spot, really. In fact, the fact that they didn't find this proves that we had some mad luck getting this far. But thank you for watching, and you take care now.